So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon. And I welcome you to this webinar, which we are organizing as Europe Direct core platform, this time with the support of Xjenza Malta. Throughout our work as Europe Direct, we are very keen on collaborating with different organizations that share our mission and our values. And this time we are very happy and proud to be collaborating with Xjenza Malta. So just by way of context, maybe you give me a couple of minutes so I can explain what a Europe Direct Center does. So essentially, we are a local information hub about the European Union, and we provide resources, guidance, and also engagement opportunities for citizens. In terms of our objectives, primarily, we aim to provide information about the European Union, so we help the public understand EU-related policies, initiatives, and more importantly, how these would impact their daily lives. We organize events and workshops and discussions so that we provide a space where citizens can engage with topics such as sustainability, human rights, economic growth, and other EU-related themes. We also support EU programs and grants, which is in fact what we are doing today. And we also promote local EU interactions. So we aim to bridge local communities and the EU by sharing feedback from citizens with EU institutions, and we promote the EU and EU-related events at the local level. And then we also encourage civic engagement. So we do this, for instance, by encouraging people to vote in EU elections, which is what we were actually busy doing this year. And we also support other initiatives by promoting active citizenship within the broader EU framework. So essentially, a Europe Direct Center is a link between the EU and its citizens, and we aim to foster a better understanding of the work of the EU, which is sometimes abstract and people find a little bit difficult to translate into practical and tangible actions. As I mentioned in my introduction, today we are collaborating with Xjenza Malta to bring you information about the Horizon program, which is the European Union's flagship program for research and innovation. And it's running for 7 years, and it's intended to deliver scientific, technological, economic, and social impact. But maybe we should, before we go into the topic, we should ask ourselves, why do we need to focus on research and innovation in the first place? Perhaps it's a bit of a rhetorical question, because we know that research and innovation are essential for driving economic growth, to solve societal challenges, and also advance knowledge and ultimately improve quality of life. So research and innovation contribute to creating new products, new services, which in turn boost productivity and competitiveness. We also wish to underscore the role of research and innovation in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the vital role that research and innovation plays in this regard, and linked to the Sustainable Development Goals as well, of course, the European Green Deal, and also our own national goals and aspirations. So essentially, research and innovation help to drive development, for instance, of sustainable energy, of circular economy practices, of eco-friendly technologies, in turn helping us to achieve these goals. So today, we are lucky to have with us 3 experts who will share their knowledge on how the Horizon program can be tapped into as a useful tool, in fact, for the promotion of research and innovation in Malta and also beyond. So I welcome with us Lily Kankaya, Frankie Borg, and also Tamar Ashkembri from Xjenza Malta, and I give them the floor to proceed with their presentations. Just a final remark before we do that, may I please remind everyone, whilst the presentations are ongoing, to keep their microphones and their cameras off. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat function. We will be monitoring the questions and our speakers will be addressing them as they go along. However, we will also have time for questions and discussions towards the end. So, Lily, perhaps I can invite you to take the floor and we move forward from here. Thank you, everyone.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Kankaya. I work at Xjenza Malta as a national contact point for the Horizon Europe program. And together today with my colleagues Frankie and Tamara, we will introduce you to the program and we'll give you a bit more details on our support schemes as well. So to start, Xjenza Malta is the officially officially nominated body for the program, for the Horizon Europe program, and therefore it holds under one roof all the national contact points and all the program committee members. We do have a double role. Each one of us, we are a team of 7 national contact points, and each one of us takes care of different parts of the program as well as different program committees. Basically, what is the role of the national contact point is to provide assistance to our local community, to tap into the funding. You will hear a bit more details about our services later in the slides. And as a program committee members, we try to protect the interest of Malta into the program. We review the draft work programs and so on. So what you will hear today in this webinar, within this 1-hour webinar, we'll try to cover the general introduction to the program, how to build your consortium, what are the eligible costs. We'll have a live demo of the funding and tenders portal. Since we saw in the registration that there were some private companies as well, we thought it would be interesting you to hear about the European Innovation Council too. We'll also give some project examples of each one of the pillars of the program. And finally, you will hear about our services and the additional support schemes that we have through national funding that will help you to tap into the Horizon Europe program. As Roberto already introduced, this is the largest program for research and innovation of the European Commission. The budget is bit above 95 billion euros for the 7 years of the program. The previous program was, maybe you heard of it, was Horizon 2020, and it was up to 2020. So the Horizon Europe started from 21 and it will serve until 2027. Then we'll have another follow-up program, so do not worry, it's not the end of the Horizon Europe. It's just, will be probably under another name. For now, we call it FP10, Framework Program 10. So the program is divided into 3 main pillars, each one having different opportunities, being bottom-up opportunities or top-down. What do I mean by bottom-up and top-down? Bottom-up is when the researchers, the scientists, the participants come up with an innovative, excellent idea, which can be spread around all the scientific fields, while the top-down approach is we have different work programs, and you will see in the next slide an overview of the different parts of the program, where the Commission pre-identify the goals, the challenges that we face as a society, and you as applicants are there to apply with the proposals that will solve these challenges and will provide solutions to them. Generally, I can give you here a better overview. Generally, in Pillar 1, which is the European Research Council, Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions and Research Infrastructures, is mostly bottom-up calls. So the researchers come up with ideas. Here we also have quite many individual opportunities. So one single researcher can apply to obtain funding, of course, representing legal entity. But we also have consortium-based opportunities, so where you need to partner up with other organizations from other places in Europe and the world. In Pillar 2 is the global challenges. So here we have the clusters. You can see the different thematic areas. We have health, culture, security, the digital industry and space, climate, energy and mobility, the food, the bioeconomy and environment. So these are the different work programs where you will find different course, different topics that are clustered within its own thematic areas. And here is always consortium based, apart from the CSA, which I will also explain what is CSA, the different type of actions later in the slides. In pillar 3, we have opportunities that are mostly for the private sector, but not only, also the academic sector can find and NGOs can find opportunities there. As you see, the program is very vast. It really covers everything. So there will be no scientific field that it will be left apart. So you can find various opportunities in this huge program. And last but not least, we have also the horizontal pillar, which is the widening pillar, which is of particular interest to us in Malta because it is for the so-called widening countries. And who are these widening countries? These are countries like us that are have less performance in research and innovation scale. So these courses are specific for us. There are other countries, for example, you will find Turkey, we will find Slovenia, Slovakia, the new member states in general. There is a list. There is a huge list of these countries. But basically here we have calls that will help for capacity building, for knowledge exchange, networking, and so on. Of course, you can imagine that in this 1 hour webinar, we cannot cover and provide you all these details, but if you see something that is of your interest, we can come up and we can meet you individually to provide you more details. Now, what is the funding and tenders portal? This is the one-stop shop for you. Here you can find all the opportunities, not only for the Horizon Europe program, but also for the rest of the European Commission funding programs. Here, you will be able to download the actual template in order to apply for the course. You will be submitting the actual application. And if you are successful, you will also manage the project through this funding and tenders portal. Frankie will give you more detail. We will give you a live demo on the actual funding and tenders portal. So you will see also how it looks and what kind of information you will be able to find there. So what are the types of actions? So these are the different type of calls. Each one of the calls will specify which is the type of the action. And what are the difference here? These are the three main. There are more than that, but these are the three main types of calls. So we have the research and innovation action. Here, we typically have consortium-based projects, and they're 100% funded. Okay, so the funding rate is 100% for any type of organization, being private, being academic, or NGO, public entity, anyone will be funded 100%. And the technology readiness level will be from 1 to 5, meaning that is mainly research, okay, being done here. Then we have innovation actions. The innovation actions are more about than testing the prototypes, building the prototypes, deployment, rather, let's say. And here we have as well a consortium-based projects where the funding rate is 100% for the public bodies, for the academic sector, but for the NGOs as well, for non-profit entities, but then 70% for the SMEs and profit organizations. Then we have coordinated and support actions. So here there is no much research going on. Here, what is being done is usually more policy-oriented approach, projects or networking opportunities. Here, the project can be also a mono-beneficiary, meaning that only one organization is eligible to apply. of course, you can also involve other partners if you wish to. But with one organization, you cover the minimum eligibility and is always 100% funded for all the type of organizations. On top of this 100%, you have the 25% indirect costs. But then in the budget table, I can explain you a bit more about it. So I mentioned the technology readiness levels. So for the research and innovation actions, that is typically from scale 1 to 5. Here you can see the scale. So basically from 1 to 3, we're talking basic research. From 4 to 6, the development. And then from 7 to 9, the deployment or bringing the product, the service close to the market. What is the participation criteria? So for most of the calls, not the mono beneficiaries, okay? The mono beneficiaries like the CSAs, the coordination and support actions, as well as some other mono beneficiary actions under Pillar 1, such as the European Research Council and the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, you will need to have 3 legal entities from 3 different member states or associated countries. Of course, on top, you can add more partners. This is just the minimum. 3 from 3 different countries. Now, for the associated partners, we have a link here in the slide. You will receive this presentation after the event. But these are countries that have negotiated participation with the European Commission into the program. And these countries are typically spread around Europe. So we have, for example, Turkey, we have Israel, we have the Balkan countries such as Serbia and Montenegro and Albania. Then we have some North African countries, Israel. There is the full list. They participate equivalently to the member states here in the program and receive the funding directly. What is important is that you have to register on the funding and tenders portal. There are 2 types of registrations. So one is a personal one, which you do with your email and a password. This is in order to be able to download then the actual templates. And then we have also the organization registration. So it's one-time registration where the organization receives a 9-digit PIC number, participant identification code, and with it, the organization can continuously apply for funding. Also, it's important to mention that for public bodies, research organizations, and the academic sector, gender equality plans are a requirement. This is the typical project cycle. So you start with an idea, then you develop the consortium with who you want to work, then you start working on the proposal. Of course, you download the forms, you read all the documents, you contact us as national contact points to assist you. You develop the proposal, you submit the application form, and if you're selected, then the Commission will invite you for the grant agreement, preparation and signature, which is also online. Everything is completely online through the funding and tenders portal, and then you can start your project implementation. Now, how to build your consortium? This is one of the questions that we often are faced as national contact points. So the best suggestion is to use your personal networks if you have if you have colleagues that you collaborated in the past from abroad. This is one of the best solutions to find a good partner, because you already know them, you already have experience with them. But in case you do not worry, we can find you, or we can help you find partners. We have network of national contact points abroad, and we can, of course, ask them to share your profile. We can also support your participation at brokerage events, which are also very useful for finding partners or getting yourself invited to consortiums. Tamara later will give you more details about the support that we provide. Um, you can fill up partner search forms. These are also available on the funding and tenders portal. Under each call, you can upload your interest to participate in developing such a proposal. And you can also check Cordis. Cordis is a platform with all the funded projects from the Commission. So in there you can see similar ideas maybe. You can see the list of partners and you can contact them and see if maybe they will be developing another proposal. Because typically once organizations start participating in the program, they continuously apply. So it's also another tip on how you can find partners and get yourself involved into the program. And let's say you manage to find partners. What do you need to know is that usually it's a must that there will be one coordinator. Okay, so this is the lead partner of the consortium, and at least another two beneficiaries. This is to cover the minimum criteria that I mentioned before. Of course, you can have unlimited type of partners. This will depend on the type of the call that you're applying. Typically, it's good to have between 6 and 8 partners, not to be too much. Too big consortium can be also administratively more heavy to coordinate. And what are the roles then in the actual consortium? You can be just a beneficiary, just a participant, but you can be also a task leader, or else you can be a work package leader, because the actual proposal, the actual project will be split into different work packages, where you will have typically the management and communication, but you will also have the technical, the research work packages. And yes, so as I mentioned, beneficiary, that's when you sign the grant agreement. The coordinator is also a beneficiary, but then there is also the option to be associated partner. Associated partner, you will participate in the project, but you will not sign the grant agreement and you will not receive direct funding from the Commission. Also, there are opportunities that other partners can pay you for the service that you provided, let's say, for example, but you can be also kind of like a observer partner in order to learn how to participate. There are also other opportunities such as subcontractor, providing a service through subcontracting, affiliated entities when there is a linked party to one of your organization, and third party providing contributions is also an option. It is important to note that when you create your consortium, you have to keep in mind that it has to be complementary. It has to be also interdisciplinary. It should have a balance, being also geographical balance in a sense. This is not like a written rule or requirement, but is a suggestion. Also balance in terms of gender could be also considered. And of course, all the partners, all the participants should have um, excellence, excellent and innovative ideas as well. Now, as I mentioned, most of the calls are 100% funded, apart from the innovation actions, which are 70% funded for the profit-making bodies. But what is being covered? So it's important to note that the eligible costs are from the start of the project. You cannot claim cost for the preparation of the proposal. From day one of the start of the project, you can start claiming your eligible costs, which mostly cover the salaries and the personnel costs. Typically, this is a large part of the budget. You may also include some subcontracting, is not recommended, should be kept limited, but yet it might be the case that you're missing some expertise in the consortium and you will need to subcontract. Purchase costs, here we have the travel and accommodation to attend project meetings, conferences, and trainings, and so on. We have equipment based on depreciation, and we have other goods, works, and services. So this is very open category. Here you can have the organization of the conferences, for example, organization of workshops, trainings, publications are also eligible costs. Um, Anything that is relevant for the project implementation. And on top of these costs, apart from the subcontracting, you have 25% indirect costs. So the 25% is not being applied to the subcontracting, okay? So this is must be noted. But on top of the other eligible cost, you receive automatic 25%. So this is to cover for example, anything that you do not provide any receipts for it, you do not need to justify, it's just automatic costs, for example, to cover office rent or telephone bills and so on. Something that is indirect to the project, a cost that is indirect, like overheads. The actual application. So we always have the part A for all type of calls, all type of topics. Part A is the electronic part of the application form, where you will provide details of your organization, details of you, contact details. The budget part is also here, some ethics questions, if there are ethics issues involved in the proposal, and so on. It's basically, this is electronic form that you have to reply to some questions there. And then the part B, that is the actual template. So here, also the page sizes varies depending of the call. There are some calls that are with only 10 pages. There are others with 45. So it really depends how big is the call and what is the type of action. This is a Word template. You download it once you log in into the funding contenders portal under the actual call that you're going to apply. You click on it, you download it, you work on it, and then you submit in a PDF version to the actual submission system. Once you submit your proposal, of course, before the deadline, is very important to stress that do not submit in the last moment. Submit if you can 2 days before the deadline, because sometimes the system may crash and your efforts will be for nothing. So don't be disappointed. Submit before, and then you have to wait. You are going to wait for the evaluation, external evaluation of the commission, where usually 3 evaluators, sometimes more, depending again of the calls, are being appointed to evaluate and score your proposal. This waiting time is 5 months, usually. Sometimes is less, sometimes is more, again, depending of the calls, but typically is 5 months. And then if you receive that your main listed, if you are selected for funding, you will have up to 3 months to sign the grant agreement. And then you can decide on your starting date, of course, during the grant agreement preparation phase. And now I would like to stop sharing and give the floor to my colleague Frankie. As Roberta mentioned, you can put your questions now in the chat if there are any at that point, and we can address them a bit later.
So I'm Frankie Borch. I am the national contact point for Cluster 5 within Pillar 2. And the teams there are climate, energy, and mobility. As Lily said, I'm also a program committee member for this specific cluster. I'm going to show you a live demo of the funding contenders portal. Here you have a direct link to get access to the funding contenders portal. So when you hit that link, it will get you to this website here. which is administered by the European Commission. And from here, you will get all that is required for your submission of your proposal, to get to know of any projects that you are working on, any calls that are currently open, and topics related to those calls. And today we're going to show you how this works and where you find each and every item that is required for you to submit a proposal. So in the homepage, in the funding section, you'll select the EU programs, and from here you'll find the tab indicating Horizon Europe. You click View, and from here you will go on the specific call which you would like to see what topics you have that are open or about to be opened for submission. I'm going to hit one of them. And here we'll find the relative topics for that particular call. These are currently open for submission, and the deadline to submit the project proposals for these calls is also indicated here. Whenever you hit a particular topic, you will get all the information required vis-a-vis budget, also the topic destination, and the type of call that this topic is. Since this is a Pillar 2 call, you will see that this is a research and innovation action. You could also here see that whether it is an innovation action or a CSA. In the topic description, it provides a description of what is required of the topic by the end of the project. So here you will understand that the project must deliver these 3 points here. And here is the scope, which addresses what is in mind from the project to attain and to which policies this project is addressing. Further down, you can also find further information related to the destination itself, where here you get more information regarding about the destination and the policies related to that destination, and getting into what is required in terms of how the project will help the European continent get the required assets from this project. And eventually, at the end, there's also a means to help you get in touch with other potential partners that could be part of your project. So how does this work? So here we'll find that without selecting anything, we've found 181 organizations, or in this case, individuals, which are interested in either finding partners for their projects or else partners who are available should any consortium be willing to get them on board. And from this tab, you will get the opportunity to filter between either a project or a partner. So this is an expertise offered will provide participants. So these are a number of participants that are willing to participate in a project, whereas an expertise request is for someone that is having a project and they are requesting a partner into their project. From here, you can get in touch with that organization, and you will receive emails accordingly from that participant. Here, you will not see the email address or the name of the person you are talking with. You're just sending an email to them, and they will then forward the required information to the representative within that organization, who will eventually get in touch with you with the email that you've shared with them. Going forward, so this particular topic that we've seen is part of a cluster 5 under Pillar 2 work program. So where do we find the work program and other relative information? And just to note also that, as Lily said, it is important that any submission for the proposal is done through the topic itself. So as we've seen here, you will select that you would like to start submission, and if you hit this button, the process will start and tells you step by step of what is required out of you to submit any information and data that is necessary for your proposal. Going to the work program and other important templates and information related to the program, these can be found in this tab, the guidance and documents. And from here, we select the reference documents, which will eventually go to either to the work program. And from here, we select the year for which we are interested in. To find anything related to Horizon Europe, Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, you are requested to select this selection here, the HE main work program for 2023 to 2025. And you will here find all the relative areas, particularly to Horizon Europe. So here we have Marie Skłodowska reactions and research infrastructures under Pillar 1, health, culture, civil, digital, climate, and food bioeconomy are for the Pillar 2, the European innovation ecosystem for Pillar 3, and also the widening aspect, and also the missions. Each of these will provide you with the relative work programs for each of these areas. As a participant, you can, if you are also interested, you may also submit your interest to be as an expert within the Horizon Europe work program. And this gives you the advantage of submitting yourself and make yourself available should any evaluations require you to should your expertise required for you to evaluate any of the proposals. Here we must say that to be an evaluator for any of the Horizon Europe calls, there is a disclaimer that you can't be an evaluator for a call for which you have submitted a proposal to, okay? But for the remainder of the program, you can be an evaluator in that area that you are an expert in. We continue with the PowerPoint presentation. And now I'm going to provide an insight into the European Innovation Council. So this is under Pillar 3. And this has a budget of 10 billion spread over the period of 2021 to 2027. And the idea here is to fund projects which are either breakthrough or game-changing in their idea. It is mainly funded into 3 different schemes, and these are the Pathfinder, the Transition, and the Accelerator. Here, this helps organizations to deliver projects, innovations, which start from TRL level 1 up till TRL level 9. The TRL levels help provide an indication of the technology at which stage of its development it is. So it helps even develop technology that is now garnered towards the market at TRL level 9. This is the EIC calls in further detail, where we'll find that each call has a specific amounts for each of its areas. And we also wanted to share with you that this is a new call which will be opening next year. It's the pre-EIC call, which is part of the widening area, which will help participants for the widening countries to participate and given the opportunity to get funding for the pre-accelerator. Here you have the details of how the scheme will work. If you have any questions, now is the right time for you to ask. If there are no, I'm not seeing whether there are any questions. We can continue forward with the presentation. Thank you.
So thank you, Frankie, for your presentation. Now we'll move on towards the last part of our PowerPoint presentation, where we will be giving you some practical examples of how these Horizon Europe projects actually look like, and also the involvement of Maltese beneficiaries, as well as we will be giving you some more information on how we can help you, and not just by our services, but how we can also help you a bit financially on behalf of Xjenza Malta to assist you in tapping into these funding opportunities. So, as Lily said in the beginning, there are those different pillars. There's also that cross-cutting pillar. How and what do they look like? So, under Pillar 1, the MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship, we have a project in Malta which is called Paleoism, which is basically focusing on paleoclimatic modeling of small islands in the Mediterranean, and as well the impacts on anthropod habitats. The University of Malta is hosting this postdoctoral researcher for 2 years, and the University of Malta has approximately 201,000 euros from this particular stream of Pillar 1. As we said in the beginning, under Pillar 1, the opportunities here are bottom-up. So it could be any research idea, it could be, you can get as creative as you want, and focus and apply under this specific pillar. So then there's also the doctoral networks, where there is an employment of a number of PhD students, and the project is focusing on distributed ledger technologies, and the Maltese partner is Westrade. They have a total budget of 248,000. Then we move on to Pillar 2. Pillar 2 is thematic. So under Pillar 2, we have those clusters. I think I forgot to mention I'm the Cluster 2 NCP as well. I tend to do that. So I'm the Cluster 2 NCP, where it regards the culture, creativity, and inclusive society, as well as Cluster 6. And here I have an example of a typical project under the Cluster 2 area. So the Maltese beneficiary is Heritage Malta, and the project name is called Stecci, and they are focusing on stone monument ensembles and the climate change impact. So basically how climate change impacts tangible heritage. You might also see that climate energy mobility is featured in another cluster. So as well, the clusters, they also touch a bit upon each other, and they all work in some way of harmony, let's say that. But again, under cluster 2, you'll find that the focus is heavier on the heritage aspect, whereas if you look at cluster 5, the focus would be more on climate, energy, and mobility. So the Stecci project, Heritage Malta got a nice budget of a bit more than 300,000 euro. And the total budget is 3.372 million, which is very normal for a Pillar 2 project. So Pillar 2 projects most of the time they start from 3 million euro and above, and they even last for 3 years, sometimes 4, occasionally 5. It depends how big the budget is. And again, you have to be a consortium here. Under the climate, energy and mobility, we have a project called Eco Shipyard. Epsilon is the beneficiary here with 444,000 euro in budget, and the total budget is 5 million, a bit more than 5 million. Again, there's also quite a large consortium here, and for the Eco Shipyard, they're mostly focusing on the sustainable practices of shipbuilding. Pillar 3, again, we go back to bottom-up opportunities. So here it's not thematic. You come up with the idea that you have. So the project name is called Target Me. It's a Pathfinder call, so the TRL here is a bit on the lower side, the technological readiness level. It means that the project is still at an early stage. It is still at an exploratory stage, and here the project is focusing on a multi-omics approach for novel drug targets, biomarkers, and risk algorithms for myocardial infarction. And the total budget is almost 4 million euro here, and it is coordinated by the University of Malta, which have gained a bit more than 3 million euro for this. And they have partnered with another academic institution. Yeah, and the duration is until 2028. The widening and ERA, it's another horizontal pillar. So here it's bottom up. So again, as a general comment, the widening and that pillar, it's mostly the main aim at the end of the day is to really boost widening countries and their participation in research and innovation funding programs, and again, to help them expand and become more innovative and competitive. So there are a number of initiatives to help them in doing so. And we can start with the twinning one, where the Promise project, which is coordinated by FAIR Malta, and some other beneficiaries as well, is focusing on photovoltaics, reliability, operations, and maintenance, again, and innovative solutions for energy alliance. Sorry. The other one is ERA Talents as well. It's called T-Brain Boost. They're aiming to improve brain circulation. The coordinator is Slovenia, but Brain Trip is participating on behalf of Malta. And the budget is 360,000, a bit more than 360,000 euro. And the ERA chair. There's the BioGMT, which is on bioinformatics for genomics in Malta. The coordinator is University of Malta with almost 2.5 million euro in budget. Again, the aim is to network, it's to attract even excellent researchers from abroad to come to Malta as well and to learn from each other. And also, again, network, knowledge share, and even at that stage with twinning, they would even do study visits, for example. It's mostly about, at the end of the day, the end goal is to increase the excellence of widening countries. In terms of NCP services, what we do info sessions, we assist you in finding partners, we also review your proposal, so if you want to send it to us so that we can have a look and give you some feedback in terms of the administration, in terms of the administrative part, especially of the proposal, where we'll guide you a bit in terms of if you wrote a particular section in the correct place, if the budget is looking sound, so we can give you that type of feedback. Again, when it comes to the excellence part, we cannot actually give feedback on the idea in itself, but we can give you feedback if your idea matches the standard that the Commission is looking for. Then there's also dedicated workshops and trainings, again, one-to-one meetings, and we have as well support through our national schemes. So whereas we cannot give you specific advice on the excellence part of the project, so perhaps on the methodology, we have a grant which is called HiPass, and HiPass can give you up to 6,000 euro if you decide to coordinate a project under the Horizon Europe structure. And we have the deadline is coming very soon. in November, but we also have multiple cutoffs next year. And we'll give you some more information on that later in the next slides. But again, with the 6,000 euro grant, you can hire an external service provider, which can give you all type of feedback. And we have another scheme called Net2HE. We can also help you find partners, not just by spreading the word to our other international NCP colleagues that perhaps you're looking for a partner, you're looking to work on a certain project or idea, but we can also give you up to 1,500 euro to travel abroad and attend networking events, especially the ones that focus a lot on the upcoming calls. We will help you in terms of your flight and give you a nightly allowance. As long as you apply 15 working days before the start of the event, you're good to go. It's quite a straightforward application, and we also have a list of suggested events to help you figure out and track down the exact event that would be suitable for you. Then the EIC, we spoke about the EIC, and the EIC is, let's say, it's kind of split into 3 strands: the Pathfinder, the Transition, and the Accelerator. And I have a very good slide coming up for this, but you can really get 10,000 euro for proposal development specifically for the EIC. So HiPass, as I said, as long as you are a coordinator, you are eligible for HiPass, a coordinator based in Malta. And the next deadline is coming in a couple of days, but do not worry, because it will be open again in 2025 with cutoffs in April, June, and October. Then the Net2HE, as I said, as long as you hand in your application 15 working days before and you fill the necessary forms. So if you fall under state aid, you have to fill some certain state aid forms. If you are under non-state aid, then you don't have to fill in those type of forms. But again, there's more details. What this fund offers really is for you to have your flight ticket, your travel insurance, and you have a 150 euro nightly subsistence. We will not ask for any receipts or what hotel you booked, but we will give you 150 euro, which is capped, and you can select any accommodation and even spend where you restaurants, etc., whatever you want to do. We're quite flexible in that, as long as you provide us with a travel report and the air tickets, and again the receipt as well for the travel insurance. The most important rule, again, is to be on time and to leave from Malta to any EU member state or associated countries and to return back to Malta. Again, here is basically what I just said, and the maximum amount for days for the brokerage event is 5 days. So it is very rare for an event to be longer than 5 days. So we think that 5 days would suffice. The EIC support scheme. So as I said, the EIC has, let's say, 3 strands. You have Pathfinder, Transition, Accelerator. The difference is especially in the TRL levels. So when you start with the Pathfinder, we have a 10,000 euro proposal development grant. With the Transition, we have as well a 10,000 euro proposal development grant. Plus, if you get through, we give you 2,000 euro for the second stage, for you to have a pitch coach grant to practice a bit and get some good guidance on pitching. And then the accelerator, again, you have 5,000 euro business coaching grant for the first stage, as well as the pitch coach grant, which is 2,000 euro. And if you pass, then for the second stage, you get 10,000 euro. Stay tuned for our next event. It will be in person on the 5th of December. It's called Horizon Europe Explained, where we'll be going over upcoming and open funding opportunities, but there will be a good focus on Pillar 3. As you might notice, Pillar 3 is very attractive for the private sector, but not only. So please really, if there's the EIC has it, you find it interesting, I would suggest that you come on the 5th of December, but we will also touch upon some other opportunities that are open right now. So with that, I'm going to leave our email and our social media handles here. I'm not sure if there are any questions. I don't think I see any questions, but
We don't seem to have any in the chat, but perhaps I can take the opportunity to invite the participants to put forward their questions at this point, if they have any. Thank you so much in the meantime, Lily, Frankie, and Tamar. That was extremely informative. It's a very broad program, quite complex, but I think you've managed to share the key highlights. And I think the main message as well is for everyone to reach out, and you're there to support. And please do consider joining this program, because there are a lot of opportunities there, and I think it's up to us to make the best out of these opportunities.
In the meantime, while we are waiting for any questions, I just want to stress the importance of also registering for being an external expert, because Frankie showed us there how to do it on the Funding and Tenders portal, because it gives a very valuable experience for then actually start preparing applications. So do register, you get paid quite well as well. As far as I know, is between 400 and 500 euros per day. So it's good paid, you get a good experience, so go for it and apply. This does not mean that you will be automatically selected. It might take time, but nevertheless, just try. And also another thing just to mention is that, as you see, the program is very big and the duration of the projects vary. Okay, this is something that we didn't mention. They can be of 1 year, they can be of 3 years, there are even longer ones of 5 years. So it really depends on the course and also the budgets. So you might try as a first time to participate with a very small budget, just to see how you go, how you feel, and then eventually advance. But we do have many applicants from first time that do apply with larger budgets too. We just do not suggest that if you're a first timer in the program to apply as coordinator, unless it is a mono beneficiary, when it is you, the sole applicant. But if you are going to deal with a consortium, we suggest that you will be first a partner, a beneficiary, and then you take the step forward to be a coordinator.
Thank you, Lily. Perhaps I have a question. What is typically the success rate of these applications? I know many people are slightly put off because sometimes they feel they put a lot of effort into an application and then sometimes it's not successful. So maybe you can share your thoughts on this.
This is also something that we can guide you accordingly, because we try to suggest those with high success rate. So the average success rate is around 15%, but really depends on the different calls. We do have calls with 30%. Sometimes we have calls with so limited applications that it's even higher. Then on the other hand, we have calls with even only 5%. So it really depends on the type of the call. But of course, we try to suggest to our applicants those with the high success rate, of course.
And does it make sense for someone to perhaps resubmit an application sometimes? If it's
Yes, absolutely. If it is allowed, there are some restrictions. Some limited calls do not allow resubmission if the score was bad, let's say. I mean, if the score is above threshold, usually you don't have worries. But then for most of the calls, even if it is below threshold, you are allowed to resubmit. Of course, you receive a very valuable feedback into the evaluation summary report that everyone receives after the project is evaluated. And of course, you have to address these issues that have been pointed, and why not? Why not resubmit? To be honest, most of the applicants do resubmit. It's not everyone is lucky to get selected from the first time.
Exactly.
If I may add something on resubmissions, sometimes it's a bit tricky when it comes to Pillar 2 because they're thematic. So as Frankie showed, sometimes they're very specific. But if you have an idea, let's say on PV, and the work program is climate, energy, and mobility, most probably there will be something similar coming up next year on PVs. You might need to twist a bit or bend a bit your idea, but maybe the core idea would still be there. Your partners are still there most of the time. So especially if a proposal was scored well, but it wasn't selected, perhaps you were maybe 2 marks away from being selected. Why not retry again? Because it's not good to waste efforts as well.
And continuing on what Tamara said, sometimes if you, like for example, you're submitting to a research innovation action, okay, and that particular action gives you the opportunity that a similar topic will open up in 2 years down the line within the work program itself as an innovation action. So that shows that the first project can now advance to another section and to become even more prepared to close to market, sort of to say. So then we'll have another opportunity there to resubmit. But this is not always the case, but in the majority, there's this opportunity. So any call that was like an research innovation action in 2021, 2022, or 2023, we should expect that in the coming years, this would eventually become a research and an innovation action. So having your ASR in hand, knowing what you've done wrong and how you can improve by the time that a similar project, a similar topic would be open for submission, you will be having an added advantage on others that are submitting for the first time. You can also, in the meantime, get in touch with consortia which got awarded their projects, and they might take you on board because you will be offering something different to their project. So they will be analyzing something which they weren't analyzing in the original project there.
If I may add, for the success rate, because I received an insight, so while the success rate is averagely 15%, we in Malta, we have higher than that. So at the moment stands at 17.5. So we do have some better chances.
Amazing, thank you. Great, any further questions? Okay, it seems there are no further questions. So I thank you very much. I thank our speakers. I thank our participants. I do encourage everyone who's here or anyone who will be following the webinar at a later stage to reach out to Xjenza Malta. They have a lot of support, a lot of initiatives that can help your organization grow and reach its objectives. And so I do encourage you to stay in touch with them and follow up. So thank you very much. I think we can wrap up, and I look forward to seeing you all at our next event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roberta, for the opportunity and for the invitation. Yes, and we look forward to receive calls or emails from the participants. And I will be sending you the presentation so that you can share with them. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.